Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to speak about Tom Holland and his career with the MCU. Right now is a very important topic to talk about because Tom Holland has recently spoke about his future, and this is what he said: "When I have kids, you will not see me in movies anymore. Golf and dad, and I will just disappear off the face of the earth." And if you guys are wondering why I am making a video about this, is because I want to clarify exactly what Tom Holland's road with the MCU is going to look like for the next 5 years. I'm also going to be explaining exactly why I do think Tom Holland's Spider-Man will be making an appearance in the Daredevil series, and in the end, passing on the torch to Miles Morales' Spider-Man. So if you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys are Marvel fans or DC fans, this is going to be the channel for you guys. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. So Tom Holland has recently had a interview with Men Health magazines, and in the pictures you can just see that he is preparing for the roles that is coming up for him. He has to be fit, he has to be fully muscular, and in this year he is going to be filming 3 total projects. I know that there is questions about why Tom Holland will be leaving very soon, because he does want to embrace fatherhood, because we thought that he was going to be running with the MCU for the next 10 to 15 years. But once again, let's have more clarity on his last run with the MCU. How long is it going to take? How many projects? And so forth. So a couple of months ago, it was reported that Tom Holland has signed a deal with Marvel Studios, and he is going to be appearing in 6 total projects as Spider-Man, including a new trilogy and 3 other Marvel movies. So let's think about this, right? It is going to be a 6-picture deal plus the Odyssey that he will be making with Christopher Nolan. That movie is going to be a spectacle. He's probably going to try and go for the Oscars. He is going to be having a very busy few years. And so within that 6-picture deal, we are going to be having Spider-Man 4, Spider-Man 5, and Spider-Man 6, with Doomsday being one of those projects and Secret Wars also being another project. And as for the 6th one, most likely it could be the Daredevil Born Again series that will be coming out in a couple of weeks. I will be explaining why it would make the most sense for him to make a small cameo appearance in the Daredevil series in just a few minutes, but I believe that Kevin Feige will be repeating the exact same formula that he did when he first signed Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Tom Holland first appeared in the Civil War movie that came out in 2016. A year later, he had his own solo project, which was Spider-Man Homecoming. A year later, he came out making appearances in Avengers Infinity War in 2018. A year later, he made another appearance in Avengers Endgame, and in that same year of 2019, he also came out with his 2nd solo project, which was Far From Home. Then came his 3rd solo project 2 years later, which was No Way Home. And so as you can see here, he made 3 solo projects with Marvel, and with each solo project being spaced out within a span of 2 years. All of this was released within a span of 5 years. And very similar to the 6-picture deal that he has just signed, this was also a total of 6 projects. Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, Far From Home, and No Way Home is a total of 6 projects. So like I've said, most likely Kevin Feige is going to be repeating the exact same thing. It's all going to be starting with Daredevil Born Again, which will be coming out in March 2025. Then comes Avengers Doomsday next year on May 1st, 2026. Then he is also going to be filming The Odyssey, which comes out on July 17th, 2026. This is not MCU related. This is something completely different, and I believe that Tom Holland is going to kill it with Zendaya also being there. But outside of that, right, a week later from that release date of July 17th comes Spider-Man 4 in 2026 on July 24th. It's going to be a very busy year for Tom Holland. In 2027, he'll come out with Secret Wars, and then it comes where things get a little murky, I would say, because then if we go with the 2-year time frame per solo project, his next solo project will most likely come out in 2028, which is Spider-Man 5, and then another 2 years, which will be 2030, and that is going to be Spider-Man 6. So this is a very similar run to what he had before with the MCU. You have your 3 MCU projects, which is Daredevil, Doomsday, and Secret Wars, and your other 3 solo projects, which is Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, with the Odyssey being thrown into the middle. And so if you really think about it, right, by the end of Spider-Man 6, which will be most likely in 2030, it is the sweet spot for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to finally pass on the torch to Miles Morales, because I do believe that by the time we get into 2030 or anytime between 2027, 28, or 29, a live-action Miles Morales Spider-Man will be introduced. We'll see a very similar storyline to how Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., passed on the torch to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, where they are going to be the main leaders. Miles Morales will be taught by Peter Parker's Spider-Man. It also does align with what's currently going on in the real world. Sony and Disney are most likely going to come to an agreement that the Spider-Man IP, and maybe even the Miles Morales IP, because they are under the same thing, is going to be most likely controlled by Marvel. It explains the reason why Sony has canceled all of their villain movies like Kraven, Morbius, Madam Web. Sony know that something needs to change, and having a 5-year gap between the canceled Sony cinematic universe and introducing a live-action Miles Morales for the first time makes the most sense. So it makes sense in the real world, and it also makes sense with within the MCU and storytelling, because by 2030, when Tom Holland's Spider-Man is about to officially be done, you can create so many storylines in the end. For example, a storyline that could happen and that Marvel could use is the Ultimate Fallout issue 4 storyline. This is where Miles Morales first appears after Peter Parker's death in the Death of Spider-Man. Miles discovers he has Spider-Man powers, and although Peter doesn't directly pass the torch here, his death does create the vacancy for Miles to take up the role. So they can do something like that. I mean, like, it'll be pretty sad to see our Spider-Man, right, Tom Holland Spider-Man, ultimately get led towards a death, very similar once again to how Tony Stark's Iron Man led to a death back in Endgame. But that is where things get very, I would just say, murky, a little foggy, because it is still far off into the future. Now going into the Daredevil storyline, like I've said, I believe that this is where he is going to be making his first appearance post No Way Home. There is a significant chance, I believe, that Tom Holland's Spider-Man could make an appearance in Daredevil Born Again, mainly because you can really create that street level MCU type of project. Both Daredevil and Spider-Man are characters that are deeply rooted in New York City. Keep in mind that Spider-Man and Daredevil have already met in the MCU, like they know each other. It's just that Peter Parker does not know who Daredevil is. But it'll be very interesting to see how all of that does play out in Daredevil Born Again. I don't necessarily believe that Spider-Man is going to be having a huge role in the series, because this is going to be Daredevil's time and for him to shine. But I believe that he'll have a small cameo appearance, maybe in the last 2 episodes of the season, or maybe even in the last episode of the season, he'll make an appearance. And I think that it's almost impossible to not include Spider-Man in the TV series, because the storyline of Wilson Fisk, right, aka Kingpin, running for mayor of the New York City is something that Spider-Man cannot ignore. This is a storyline that has been set up during the Echo series finale, and this political agenda that Kingpin is going to have is going to directly impact Daredevil and Spider-Man, because Fisk's campaign in the comics includes policies against so-called vigilantes, and those vigilantes, it is Daredevil and Spider-Man, which is going to force for Spider-Man and Daredevil to really meet up. And this plotline is also going to mirror the Devil's Reign comic event, where Kingpin bans vigilantes activities upon becoming mayor, and directly affecting heroes like Daredevil and Spider-Man. Keep in mind that nobody knows who Spider-Man is because of the spell that Doctor Strange had. Everybody knows that Spider-Man exists, but no one knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Not even Daredevil is going to know who he is. So let me know in the comment sections down below, do you believe that Spider-Man is going to be making his first appearance post No Way Home in the Daredevil Born Again series? And if not, where do you believe he is going to be showing up besides Doomsday, Secret Wars, and the 3 solo projects that he will be having? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.